A new face at the top of the PGA Championship.
Aaron Rise just hit a beautiful birdie putt on 17, and he drains it.
It's my honor on behalf of the PGA of America to present the Wanamaker Trophy to the champion of the 108th PGA Championship, Aaron Rai.
Plus,
I want winners.
Keyshawn Davis, I think minus 135. I think he blasts Albright within 6 rounds, gets him out of there.
We're halfway there.
Pistons, Cavs. I'm going to go under 210.5. We're going back to the under.
Woo, look at that.
Ant-Man's got something tonight. Plus 5.5. Minnesota is winning this game outright. We're going to take them with the points, plus 5.5.
Well, maybe it got twisted.
Freakness. This weekend, we're going to the track. I like Taj Mahal.
I'll make up for it now.
You want a long shot, Napoleon Solo.
Napoleon Solo and Paco Lopez have won the Preakness.
Gina Carano, Ronda Rousey. Give me Ronda Rousey minus 183 by submission.
Rousey looking for the arm, and already the arm. It's over. Mamma mia. The most devastating finish in MMA history.
what did he say? Let's head into the San Diego Sports 760 studios and get in the zone with Fletch and Sammy.
Yeah, let's get it rocking on a Monday. What's happening, everybody? Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you till 2 o'clock today. We got a lot going on the show today, including a couple of huge giveaways. So keep listening for those. We'll tell you about them in a second. All right, the show today. Padres sweep, dope. Netflix MMA was dope until it wasn't. McGregor and Rodgers are both back. NBA Eastern Conference Finals and Western Conference Finals are all set. And Alex Smalley ruins the greatest accidental bet of all time. There's a lot to pack into the next 2 hours. And congratulations to Sammy Long for picking the winner of Preakness.
Napoleon Solo. I hope everyone in San Diego profited off that.
Sammy, are you ready to have a great show?
I am ready to have a great show.
We got a lot going on.
A lot to get to today.
All right, a lot to get to, including 2 excellent giveaways. So the first one is going to be for you soccer fans out there, because Switzerland is taking on Australia on Saturday, June 6th at noon, right here in San Diego at Snapdragon Stadium. Don't miss a second of the international action featuring 2 global contenders. Stay tuned for your chance to win a pair of tickets. Very, very cool. International game happening at Snapdragon Stadium on June 6th. We have a pair of tickets. We'll be giving those away at some point in hour number 1. And then at some point in hour number 2, we have a 4-pack of tickets to the San Diego County Fair. Once upon a fair, it was a tale of food, fun, friends and family, laughter, tradition, music, amazement, and more. The San Diego County Fair, the biggest and longest running event in San Diego County, makes its triumphant return from June 10th through July 5th, 2026. No Mondays, no Tuesdays. Visit sdfair.com to plan your happily ever after. We have a 4-pack of tickets to the San Diego County Fair. I go every year. I'm sure Sammy's gone every year since he was like 12 years old. The San Diego County Fair, incredible. The way you win these tickets today is going to be on the talkback mic. On the talkback mic today, we are looking for an answer to one question. Who of the 3 star Padres, Fernando Tatis Jr., Manny Machado, and Jackson Merrill, has the best series against the Dodgers?
Gavin Sheets.
Yeah, exactly. That's the right answer that Sammy just said. But out of those 3 Padres, let's say that which one of them has a multi-hit game against the Los Angeles Dodgers over the next 3 days? Because I don't know what the answer is to that. So talkback mic, do your thing. Open up the free iHeartRadio app, search San Diego Sports 760. Give us an answer to that question. If you do, you're going to win a 4-pack of tickets to the San Diego County Fair, or whoever Sammy picks out of the thousands of people who leave talkbacks will get a 4-pack of tickets to the San Diego County Fair. All right, with that, we are set. Here we go. We got 2 hours of greatness coming your way right now. We are going to start with the San Diego Padres, and here's what I'm not going to do, Sammy Long. Here's what I'm not going to do is complain about sweeping the Seattle Mariners. I'm not going to complain about the fact that for the first 2 games of this series, Fernando Tatis Jr., Manny Machado, and Jackson Merrill did not get a hit. I'm not going to complain about that
because you're not going to talk about that.
That would be a crazy thing to do. What I am going to say is what a weekend for Gavin Sheets. The dude is turning into Derry Bonds before our eyes. How great was Lucas Giolito outside of the 3 straight walks? How fantastic was Randy Vasquez, who pitched game 1? Like there's a lot of really good things that happened this weekend for the Padres. So what I'm not going to do is focus on the fact that Fernando Tatis Jr., Jackson Merrill, and Manny Machado can't hit the side of a barn with a baseball. I'm not going to focus on the fact that them moving down in the lineup probably needs to be a permanent change. I'm not going to do that today. I'm going to focus on the positives of what happened this weekend out in Seattle. Sammy, is that fair?
Yeah, well, Vasquez was great. Walker Buehler was a fantastic outing. Gritty, too. Like a couple times could have gotten in trouble there. And really made some big time pitches to not let the Mariners back in that game. And the Mariners called up one of their top prospects yesterday. There was a lot of excitement. The clip went viral where he's playing in the AAA team in Tacoma and had to drive to the stadium. And so there's a lot of buzz trying to kind of thought yesterday maybe the Padres might lose considering they won the first 2 games, getting ready to get back on the flight to take on the Dodgers. And credit to the Padres, man, pounding up. I mean, they were never in the series. In look, I get they didn't have Raleigh, but if you're the Mariners, you're sitting there going, what the hell's wrong with our baseball team? And the Padres took advantage of some good pitchers. Like George Kirby is a very good pitcher. They were able to get after him all weekend. And it was nice seeing the Padres win a game yesterday where it wasn't 2-1. It wasn't 3-1. They just dominated and got to rest some of their big time pitchers in the bullpen. Because against the Dodgers, this is going to be a really gritty series of the next three days. In the kind of battle of attrition, who's going to be available is really going to play into it. So, right, the big 3 we can get to a little bit later. Their lack of production, but overall, very good weekend for the Padres, and they deserve a lot of credit for how they played on the road.
Yeah, we're not going to focus on what the big 3 did. In fact, yesterday the big 3 weren't really the big 3. They were batting 1, 2, and 3 the first 2 games of the series, and then yesterday they got dropped down in the lineup. And yesterday the offense was as productive as it's been in a long time. So I don't know if that needs to be a more permanent move until Manny, Tatis, and Merrill start hitting the baseball a little bit. But for yesterday, I really like the way that lineup looked. And man, Lucas Giolito, if he can be that dude for the Padres moving forward here for a while, you're talking about a starting rotation that gets a massive shot in the arm. I loved watching him pitch, man. I'm
glad that AJ probably listened to us to go sign Lucas Giolito.
Right, and I'm glad Giolito was somehow a lot cheaper than Giolito thought he was going to be. So for all those reasons, that was an excellent weekend for the San Diego Padres. I think this is the test. This starting today, you got the Dodgers for the next 3. This is primetime Major League Baseball. This is going to be the most talked about series in the sport over the next 3 days. What can the Padres do here to earn a little bit of that respect that they should have with the record that they have? The fear that they should be given with the record that they have. But so far, it just doesn't necessarily feel real. I'll tell you what would make it feel real is winning this series against the Dodgers over the next few days. All right, it's San Diego Sports 760. We mentioned a lot there at the open. We're going to try to get it all in over the next 2 hours. There's a lot to get to, including a couple of big-time giveaways. So stay tuned here on 760. This is a little something we do called the Big 3, where Sammy rips through the top stories in the world of sports. And on a Monday, reacting to this weekend, which was packed, there is a lot to get to. So, Sammy, smash.
Your lunch break is here. Ready to go back to the office and knock the socks off your friends?
Co-workers?
It's time for the top stories of the day. The Big 3.
Believe it or not, we actually got a text message yesterday from the 703 at 12:18. So that was in the middle of the final round of the PGA Championship.
Your
going
boy
down
Smalley had just started. He was about 40 minutes into his
This might have been
round.
when he hit his bat, when he double bogeyed 8 yesterday. That might be when that text is from. Yeah, that was miserable, 703. So if you don't know the backstory, on Thursday, my brother or my friend had sent me an accidental text where he made an accidental bet that we were both in on. That was like, I think $20 on Alex Smalley to win the whole thing. And it would have paid out like $3,000. And so the entire
shout out to
weekend,
your friend for doing that.
The entire weekend, I'm watching Alex Smalley. Like, there's no way he could actually do it.
What went into the thought process, though, originally to have Alex Smalley make the cut?
So he heard it on a podcast. My buddy heard it
What's
on a
that
podcast that, hey, a name to watch, someone who's playing good lately, Alex Smalley might be a name where you can get some decent odds to make the cut. So that was supposed to be the bet, was for Alex Smalley to make the cut. And then he almost won the damn thing, finished tied for second. But yes, 703, I was losing my mind on my couch yesterday.
Well, so that's where we're going to go. So Aaron Rye wins as a 250-1 long shot. Unbelievable performance by him. Great on Sunday. The putt he had on 17 was unreal. That really put it away, despite John Rahm charging, Smalley getting it back a little bit at the end. Are you surprised, though, considering how tight the field was, that we didn't get a playoff, or wasn't at least a little bit more competitive the last few holes?
Yeah, it was a little bit of a disappointing Sunday. Now, Aaron Rye deserves all the credit in the world. No one could make a 5-foot putt on those greens for the most part this weekend. He drains a 68-footer. You don't do that by accident. You know what I mean? Aaron Rye was on fire. Congratulations goes out to him. He does wear 2 golf gloves, which I find incredibly weird. I get the backstory behind it, that he came from a very poor family and blah, 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 blah. And the iron covers, the iron covers are a little crazy. Like, dude, you just made $2 million in an event. I understand the backstory of it. But maybe I'm just salty. I thought that the leaderboard was so much fun yesterday until the last 5 holes, probably. I am disappointed it wasn't a little more sweaty at the very end. But Aaron Ride deserves it, man. That course was brutal for everyone all week long, and there was one person that pulled away. One person that had it figured out on the back 9 of the final day, and that was Aaron Ride. He deserves it. What a win.
Yeah, credit to Aaron Ride. It's was cool to see. I mean, Rory said it after the match. He's like, you're not going to have anyone out here who's going to be like, oh, I'm bummed that dude won. In terms of, he seems like a great guy. I was a little surprised. I mean, John Rahm made a charge. Rory had a couple, he had the bogey and then missed a couple potential eagle putts 2 different times. And then Scotty was kind of disappointing. I thought Scotty ending on Saturday missed some really easy putts on that back 9 to really make it tighter for him. Then he just never really got it together on Sunday. So was kind of surprised that the congestion all weekend, we didn't get a playoff or at least a little bit more competitive at the end. But again, that's kind of a testament to Aaron Ryan, how dominant he was on Sunday. So shout out to him. All right, let's head to the NBA. So on Friday night, when the Spurs eliminate the Minnesota Timberwolves, Anthony Edwards leaves the game with 8 minutes to go, starts dapping up the Spurs, basically like, yeah, the series is over with 8 minutes to go. After the game, Naz Reid comes out on the post-game presser and talks about how a problem with the team is, quote, moodiness. Wonder who he was talking about there. Reaction to them getting blown out on Friday night, and what does that, like, the kind of friction in the locker room?
Kind of a bummer that both of the final games in the 2 series were sort of duds. I mean, the Cavs game yesterday was a dud, and the final of the game 6, I guess, of the Spurs T-Wolves was a dud. I saw the Anthony Edwards thing very differently. I saw the high fives he was throwing out there, and I thought it was funny at first, and then I realized what that actually was. And I think that's Anthony Edwards telling his own front office, like, hey, man, we're good enough to get here, but that's as far as we can get with the way that this roster is currently constructed. Go out and get me someone this offseason so I could compete with the likes of the Spurs and Victor Wembanyama. I think that was Anthony Edwards saying, hey, I'm good enough to get us there. I just need some support around me to get us past here.
If I was the Timberwolves, I'd be real careful about how I play this, because Anthony Edwards, to Anthony Edwards' credit, has kind of been the good soldier. He could have complained all these years. He's never really had a number 2 star. Julius Randle's a solid player. He's not a number 2 on a championship winning team. And he could have thrown a fit and won it out. It's not like Minnesota's a big market. Anthony Edwards could certainly thrive in a New York and in LA and in a place where he could really try to be the face of the league. And they're kind of making a big deal about this. Look, DiVincenzo had some comments. Naz Reid had some comments. They've been there for a while, especially with Naz Reid. So I guess they'll handle that internally. But kind of surprised. Yeah, if I'm Anthony Edwards in the Western Conference, if you're any team not named the Spurs and Thunder, how do you reach that level? And they're kind of at a stalemate right now, because I don't know what the answer is. Do you go try to get a Giannis? Like, that team was built to hang with the Spurs. They had multiple great bigs, great defensively, and they got blown out because they really didn't have another option. So be interesting to see where they go with that.
I'm curious how the Spurs look against OKC. I'm really fascinated with
That's
this.
gonna be fun tonight.
Does OKC just keep running? Do they keep
this is a good
through
series.
Everybody like a hot knife through butter? You think Spurs have something to say about it?
Yeah, I don't know who wins yet, but this is certainly not a 4 or 5 game series.
Okay.
I mean, the Spurs beat them 4 times during the regular season.
That's regular season. All right, we got one more, Sammy?
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers.
He's back.
The saga is over. He is back with the Pittsburgh Steelers on a 1-year, $25 million deal. Apparently, the long wait was due to some of the holdup over the money. Rodgers wanted more money. Where do we see the Steelers in the AFC North and as the AFC as a whole?
Not that much differently than if they didn't have Aaron Rodgers, if I'm being completely honest. That may sound bad to say, but I look around football right now, and I just think it's kind of past Aaron Rodgers. Like, I think he'll be good, not great. I think the Steelers will be good, not great. The AFC North is going to be tricky this year, and it always is. And I think that the Ravens are going to be much, much better than they were. I can't imagine the Bengals are worse than they were, and the Bengals were pretty fun down the stretch last year. So I'm looking at the AFC North as if the Steelers did not move an ounce from where they were before they brought back Aaron Rodgers.
And that's what Vegas said, because their Super Bowl odds did not change whatsoever. I think they're a very blah team. I think that they'll win 7 games, 8 games. I'm with you. I think Baltimore wins that division. I think Cincy certainly is better. I don't think they fix all their problems just by adding Dexter Lawrence and a few pieces on defense, but with Joe Burrow, with everyone healthy, that is one of the best offenses in the league. And no one's talking about it. The Cleveland Browns have the second easiest schedule in the league. Not that the Browns are going to be some juggernaut and you're worried about the quarterback situation. Is it Deshaun? Is it Shador? I mean, who is it? But this team has stockpiled a lot of top end picks for a while. They have an elite defense. You wonder if they could surprise some people and win some games. I think this is just the only option they had because the Steelers really have no vision at the quarterback position.
All right, get your talkbacks in if you would like a 4-pack of tickets to the San Diego County Fair. We're asking you this question for you to respond to on the talkback mic. Fernando, Manny, Merrill, do any of them get a multi-hit game against the Dodgers over the next 3? Just open up the free iHeartRadio app, search San Diego Sports 760, answer that question and why, and you are in the running to win a 4-pack of tickets to go out to the San Diego County Fair. We also have those soccer tickets we will give away coming up very, very soon at San Diego Sports 760. You're listening live on the iHeartRadio app.
Now here's your chance to win $1,000. Just enter this nationwide keyword on our website. Win. That's win. Enter it now.
SportsSD.com.
San Diego Sports Traffic.
This report is sponsored by eBay.
A stall on the right shoulder of the West 54 connector to the southbound 5. Crash reported southbound past the Coronado Bridge. No detail on this right now. Our freeway is pretty much up to speed. Mark Zegan, San Diego traffic.
eBay is home to millions of finds, and each one becomes part of your story. From your favorite vintage band tee to the dream car you've been searching for or the foul ball you heroically gave away. It's all there on eBay. eBay. Things people love.
Going long with Sammy.
Gavin Sheets was supposed to be a bonus piece. Nick Castellanos was supposed to be a veteran piece that AJ Preller would have went out and got and could come off the bench if needed be.
Weekdays at 2.
And then you go out and sign Miguel Andujar. And I remember when he got signed, people were like, that's going to be a platoon. And Andujar's been one of the most consistent hitters on the team. And it's great that they're kind of the cardiac kids. But the question is still there is why do they have to keep fighting in these games?
Tatis doesn't get a multi-hit game against the Dodgers, I will personally go out there and light fire to his mustache.
All right, it's San Diego Sports 760. Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you for the next couple of hours. That, what you just heard, is called a talkback in the business. Who was that, Sammy?
I don't know. Didn't leave a name.
I think you can find it if you click on the talkback. Hang on.
Let me get it.
That is Marcos. Marcos, what's going on? Thank you for leaving the talk back. What Marcos did was go to the free iHeartRadio app, search San Diego Sports 760, tap the little red microphone button, and left us that message. It was that easy. And Marcos is in the running to win a 4-pack of tickets to the San Diego County Fair.
Marcos calling out Tatis.
And you know what? If you want to call out any of those big three, today's your day to do it. We are your therapy, your sounding board. Go ahead, send those in. Padres swept this weekend. It was a fantastic weekend, man. But those three really didn't do anything to contribute to that sweep. All right, let's get into it a little bit here. So if anyone was watching the Netflix MMA event over the weekend, it was huge. I was at a house party with people who definitely do not watch MMA, and that was on the TV. And it wasn't me begging and prodding to get it on the TV. They wanted to watch it because they saw all about it on Instagram. This was a huge event, and that's where you give Jake Paul the most credit, is that he puts on huge events. And this, everyone I know was either watching, knew about, or had this on their TV on Saturday night. So I watched the whole thing, start to finish, and I got to say, I was really invested, especially at the beginning. The first 3 fights I thought were fun. They clearly had a goal in this, was to not let any of the fights get too far. These were everyone had knockout power, submission power. This whole entire thing was built to have big highlights, clippable moments for social media, and that's what it was. It was fun. This wasn't a massively competitive MMA event. This was fun, knockouts, submissions, violence at its peak. This was compelling to the crowd of people who maybe they're dipping their toe into the water of MMA for the first time,
or they just like big events of people that they know.
Right, and you know what? That's what this was, and for that I will give them a lot of credit. This isn't going to overtake any sort of world rankings. This isn't like Francis Ngannou was fighting a dude who was half his size. That's honestly what it looked like. But it was fun, and I thought they did a really good job. And I got to tell you, through the first, it was a 5-fight card. Through the first 4 of them, I was like, oh, this could work. Netflix could have a thing with this if they keep going. And there's going to be more and more people they can poach because they paid their fighters really well for this. Nate Diaz made well over $500,000. Ronda Rousey made $2.2 million. But that's where we get to the problem. Was the Ronda Rousey Gina Carano fight? I don't know who greenlit this on Gina Carano's side.
You didn't like the 13-second knockout?
Gina Carano had no business being in the octagon with Ronda Rousey. Like, no business. And look, Gina Carano, I get it, man. She was a trailblazer. There was no such thing as women's MMA until Gina Carano came around. Hell, Ronda Rousey, you could say something similar about. Dana White didn't have women in the UFC until Ronda Rousey came around. And for that, I thank both of them, man, because I think today's women's MMA is actually really, really good and in a good spot. And that doesn't happen without the two of them. But the fact that Gina Carano was allowed into the octagon with Ronda Rousey, understanding that Ronda Rousey's a killer and Gina Carano never competed.
And then they're crying after. I'm like, you just got your ass beat in 13 seconds. And she's like, oh, we made history. I'm like, no, you got killed. Like,
and for people out there who are saying it's fake, if it was fake, it would have lasted 5 rounds.
Yeah.
This was very much a real fight. And Ronda Rousey was very much really going to break her arm in half if she didn't tap out immediately.
The only way that this lasts as MVP Promotions is it was a fun event for you're seeing stars. Nate Diaz, a big star, and Ngannou, Rousey. It's great. The way that this lasts is by gaining real stars. Now, John Jones is on the broadcast, was
not shy about taking shots at the UFC, by the way.
People were killing Dana White and said he wants to have lawyers look at his contract to get out of that so we could potentially fight Francis Ngannou, because we know Francis Ngannou and Dana White are certainly not friends and not going to work together. That's the only way this becomes viable, because you can only put on so many fights with fighters way past their prime for enough. Now, it's a new promotion. We've seen Dana White go into the boxing kind of space. At first, the first couple cards were, yeah, okay, they're kind of deep cut boxers. Now, all of a sudden, they're signing Shakur Stevenson. They're signing some big fighters. So it's going to take a minute to get it off the ground, but certainly Dana White announcing the Conor McGregor fight with Max Holloway during the event was pretty funny. And I love how boxing UFC promoters are so petty with each other, and they're constantly going back and forth.
That was the funniest part about the whole thing, and it was so transparent. It was ripping a page out of Jerry Jones' book, man. It was something big going on. I'm releasing something bigger. And so in the middle of this UFC event on Netflix, while, by the way, every fighter who had the mic talked smack about the UFC. John
Right.
Jones on the broadcast, Ariel Helwani on the broadcast. We're talking smack about the UFC basically the whole time. You notice how many times financial security and insurance were brought up on a 4-hour Netflix broadcast? That was taking direct shots at the UFC. So in the middle of all of that, Dana White, who I'm sure has just been sitting on this Conor McGregor news for a week and a half,
100%.
a month and a half maybe, decides, now is the time to release it. And so SportsCenter has the graphic up immediately. It's like Conor McGregor's return is going to be up against Max Holloway.
Right, on sports. I watched SportsCenter that night. They weren't talking about Ronda Rousey, Gina Carano. They were like Conor McGregor, Max Holloway back. So it's like that's a legit great fight. I'm very excited for that. The MVP, I thought
McGregor's
Netflix,
a huge dog, by the way, in that fight.
Yeah, he's 4-1. I think that a lot of that is because they're trying to drive the betting public. They know the betting public is going to come hard on betting on Conor because he's just a more popular fighter. But it's a great fight for the UFC because if Conor McGregor somehow wins, he's the biggest star in the sport. It's not even close. If Max Holloway wins, Max Holloway is a very fun fighter who then gets back in the title picture. So it's kind of genius matchmaking from Dana White.
Yeah, but the whole Netflix event, I tell you, for the first 3.5 hours of it, I was like, oh, this is something that could work. Last 30 minutes of it, I was like, oh, this is lame. And this probably never should have happened. And I
then Ronda Rousey immediately is like retired. Like it was
just kind of
it was a one-off fight against someone who never fought in the UFC. I mean, it's kind of.
By the way, Dana White's biggest mistake in his entire career was letting Francis Ngannou go. That dude is electrifying.
Yeah, I didn't get that.
He's incredible, man. That much power, and you saw them talking about it, how much he's worked on his grappling and his other skills. Like, I would love to see him fighting against the best of the best.
Well, it'd be fun to have a kind of John Jones, Aspinall. There's a lot of guys. Pereira maybe moving up. You kind of could have had a big four, but yeah, the Ngannou contracts couldn't work out.
It sucks. All right, San Diego Sports 760. We got those soccer tickets for you coming up very, very soon. Switzerland and Australia. We will give those away on the other side. Plus, Padres Dodgers, man, it's here. We've had to wait a while, but the biggest series of the Padres season so far starts tonight. Let's get into it on the other side. It's San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app.
Sports sponsored by Anderson Plumbing, Heating, and Air. Dodgers, Padres tonight. Game 1 of a 3-game set at 6:40. Yoshinobu Yamamoto be on the mound for the Dodgers, while the Padres be going with their ace, Michael King. And then in the NBA tonight, we got Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals. Spurs, Thunder. Jalen Williams will be back for this game after missing the entire last series against the Lakers. That game's at 5:30. OKC is a 6.5-point favorite. And in the NHL, we got a Game 7. The Montreal Canadiens taking on the Buffalo Sabres. That game is at 4:30. It is basically a pick'em on who will win. Choosing the right home service company isn't just about fixing what's broken. It's about trusting who's in your home. That's why homeowners count on Anderson for friendly professional service that keeps everything running right. Visit AndersonPHA.com.
San Diego Sports 760, Gavin Sheets on that 6-game road trip for the Padres, 625 average, 4 home runs, 739 on base percentage, 1.438 slugging, 2.177 OPS. He was phenomenal over those 6 games. He was phenomenal, especially in the 3 against the Mariners. Gavin Sheets has been heroic for the Padres this year. I don't know what their record is without some of Gavin Sheets' play this year, but it's not close to what it is right now. So he's been awesome, and it's kind of now time to look at the rest of the Padres to see who else could be awesome, right? And my sights are centered squarely on Jackson Merrill, Fernando Tatis Jr., Manny Machado, who were batting 1, 2, 3 in the first 2 games of that series against the Mariners. Yesterday, they switched some things up. They dropped Manny a spot. They dropped Jackson Merrill 2 spots, and they left or put Fernando back in at leadoff. Yesterday, the offense looked as good as it's looked in a long time, and Gavin Sheets was in the 3-hole. So I don't know what the lineup is going to look like for Game 1 against the Dodgers, but that's my number one question entering today is what is it going to look like today? Where are those guys in the lineup? All right, we got a talk back contest going on. If you want to win a 4-pack of tickets to the San Diego County Fair, you got to leave us a talk back answering this very question. Of those 3 guys, Jackson Merrill, Fernando Tatis Jr., Manny Machado, who's going to have the best series against the Dodgers? Sammy, we got another one?
Fernando Tatis will finally break out and have a great series against the Los Angeles Dodgers. Book it.
I hope so. And I think that was our buddy Ephraim, and thank you for listening, Ephraim. If you want to get those talkbacks in, easy to do. Open up the free iHeartRadio app, search San Diego Sports 760, and tap the little red microphone icon. Ephraim's in the running. Marcos is in the running. We got a couple more that we'll play to win a 4-pack of tickets to the San Diego County Fair. But fascinating matchup over the next 3 days. Yeah. So tonight, King, Yamamoto, going head-to-head, the 2 aces of these teams. Well, this is going to be fun.
The interesting part about that is Yamamoto's actually been struggling a little bit. He's actually given up 15 runs in his last 24 innings. So Yamamoto now at any time can be the best pitcher in baseball. So the Padres are going to have to bring it with their bats, but has been struggling. The Giants actually got to him late. Their 8-9 hitters hit 3 home runs off him last week. So the Padres have a real ability. This series, in my opinion, is going to be won and lost if the Padres can get to the Dodgers starters, not put up huge numbers on them, but not let them go deep into games, because the Dodgers have a massive starting pitching advantage and the Padres have a bullpen advantage. They do, especially with the amount of injuries the Dodgers have. No Edwin Diaz. They got a lot of guys on the IL right now. Jack Dreyer, one of their key left-handed pitchers, just got put on the IL. So if you look in terms of, I think the Padres bullpen is an advantage. I think the Dodgers starting rotation is an advantage. And then you look at like tomorrow. I'm very curious whatever happens in this game tonight. So you got Yamamoto, great pitcher, Michael King, who's been a tremendous pitcher. Even if the Padres were to lose tonight, I would like to see them not have to cook their entire bullpen, because you got to figure tomorrow with Griffin Canning. Now Emmett Sheehan has been up and down for the Dodgers this year, but had a nice last couple starts. You would like to have, if there's one day to have the bullpen ready, you would like it to be tomorrow, because with Canning, you don't really know what you're getting. The last outing last week was pretty rough against the Brewers. The first start for Canning, you looked all right. I believe that was against the Giants, but I can't remember. So I really feel like, and it goes back to the big 3. You got to be able to put pressure on the Dodgers and work these pitch counts up. Like, that was something that Luis Ariz, look, I know he didn't hit with runners in scoring position. I know he didn't always come up clutch for the Padres. That's something he would do. He would work counts, make it go 9, 10, 11 pitches to where you're just constantly, it's a tough out every time. I would like to see the Padres bats tonight be able to do that, because if you let guys like Yamamoto and Ohtani get ahead in counts, it's going to be a really hard night.
Well, it's also just doing something against starting pitching, because the Padres really haven't all year. There was a couple stats that came out this weekend, and yesterday it was great to see Gavin Sheets homers in the first. I don't know how many first inning home runs the Padres have had this year, but that feels like the first one we've seen in a long time. One of the stats that was rolling around a couple of days ago was that Kyle Schwarber himself had more first inning total bases than the entire Padres team. This was 2 days ago. Kyle Schwarber has had 38 total bases in the first inning. The Padres had 30 as a team. There was another one popping around. Yeah, first innings runs scored. Washington leads the entire league with 39 first inning runs scored. Do you want to guess how many runs scored the Padres had in the first going into yesterday's game? Total on the year going into yesterday's game. First place team was was Washington at 39.
I'm going to say 15.
8 first inning runs scored ahead of yesterday. Yesterday they added another one, so that's 9.
Well, this is the prime opportunity the Padres have. We kind of got into this a little bit earlier, but the Padres have been excellent against the Mariners. 6-0. They deserve a lot of credit for going into Seattle over the weekend.
That Vetter Cup belongs here. You hear me, Seattle? Well, we got that.
Or in Chicago, where Eddie Vedder's an actual fan of the team. But I mean, they looked really good. The Brewers series, not so much after one inning on that Tuesday game with Gavin Sheets. This is a prime opportunity for the Padres to, not that it matters with the national pundits thing, not that it matters, but there is a narrative nationally that you look at the Padres run differential, it's only +7, that the Padres are very fortunate to be in this spot. That's not what I'm saying. That's what a lot of people nationally are saying. But this series draws casual viewers. This is not just Padre and Dodger fans tuning into this like a lot of baseball series are. So this is a prime opportunity against the defending champs to make a statement like, hey, no, this division is up in the air. This is not just a foregone conclusion that the Dodgers are going to run through this thing. And if the Padres want to change the narrative on their bats, change the narrative on the quote so-called luck they're getting, the next 3 days are pivotal in doing that.
Yeah, it does feel like the Padres have just been a very lucky team so far. And that's really the only way I can describe it. Look, defensively and with the pitching staff, it's been anything but luck. It's been a grind, and they are grinded, man. The way that the Padres have just kind of patched holes and everything seemed to work out with two of your main starting pitchers being on IL since basically the start of the year with Nick Pivetta and Joe Musgrove, of course. It's been miraculous what they've been able to do from a pitching standpoint, and that deserves all the credit in the world. But the fact that their hitters just simply have not hit outside of Miguel Andujar and Gavin Sheets, and you're doing what with the big guys in your lineup? I guess Xander Bogaerts has had a really nice year. Can't give too much his way. But other than that, where's the offense been? And it's been winning a ton of games. Their run differential has been putrid. It was negative going into this series with the Mariners. So I look at them as extremely fortunate to be where they're at right now. You have a chance to change a lot of people's minds with this series against the Dodgers. And I understand it's May 18th. And this series likely has nothing to do with where the Padres or the Dodgers end up long term.
But it's a statement.
It is a statement. And it's a big series in the fact that can this Padres team stand up to what a lot of people think are going to be the World Series champs once again? And if you've been following the Dodgers over the last couple of months, yeah, they haven't played great. They played pretty damn good over the last 5 games. So you're finding a team that's coming in, who struggled for a while, who's getting back on the right track. And the Padres, who this weekend was the first time we've seen any sort of offensive explosion, but it didn't come from the guys it needs to come from.
And I think it's interesting from a Dodger angle too, with the way they look at this series, because the Dodgers, people don't sweat as much when they don't win big series, because I think people just assume that they're going to be able to turn it on because of being back-to-back World Series champs. But the Dodgers haven't fared the best against the best competition. They smoked the Mets in a series, but the Mets have been a disaster. At the time of the series, people thought the Mets were good, but the Braves took it to them a couple weekends ago, winning 2 of 3. The Giants, they did split last week for the Dodgers, won the final 2 and then swept the Angels. So you talk about an important series for both teams. The Padres are looking to be like, we're here to stay in the division. This is not just a foregone conclusion. The Dodgers are going to run away with this thing. And the Dodgers are looking for a series where they can go, yeah, we're the Dodgers. Because Ohtani, until a week ago, had really been struggling at the plate. Kyle Tucker's been good this month of May, but before that, hadn't been great. Mookie Betts came back last Monday. So there's a lot of question marks for both teams, and I think it's going to lead to some really just fun baseball over the next 3 nights as a fan of the game, because we're going to see a more playoff intensity type matchup, and you don't always get that in the middle of May.
Let's get some fights done at Petco Park. Not in the stands. Not in the stands. I'm talking about on the field.
How many? So
on the field.
You think Craig Salmon and Dave Roberts body shots?
Could you imagine who wins that fight? By the way, Craig was just a professional athlete not that long ago.
Craig's younger.
Yeah,
like Dave Roberts would have.
Back in the day, Dave was a brawler. I don't know about it anymore.
Dave was. I don't know.
What if it's him and Manny Machado? Remember that almost happened like a year
the
ago?
ball in the dugout?
Yeah.
Remember the best was when Roberts and Schultz were fighting and Teoscar and Manny Machado were just sitting there laughing in the back, wanting no part of it whatsoever.
It's good stuff, man. It'll be fun the next 3 days. I promise you that. I'm looking forward to it a lot. Just to get a measuring gauge on what this Padres team actually is.
It's fun when a series is the measuring stick.
All right, soccer fans, listen up. We got a pair of tickets for you to go see Switzerland take on Australia on Saturday, June 6th at noon right here in San Diego out at Snapdragon Stadium. Do not miss a second of international action featuring two global contenders. Right now, we got a pair of tickets for you if you want to go out to Old Snappy, take in some soccer on June 6th. Sammy, what caller number do we want to give these to?
These are going to be big tickets.
These are big tickets.
Let's do caller number 12.
There's lots of interest in these tickets. 877-767-4760. Caller number 12. You are going to this international friendly, and on the other side, we got the local friendly. His name is Sammy Long, and he's going to make us a lineup to win some money tonight in the world of sports at San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. Shout out to Brett, who just won those tickets to Australia versus Switzerland. That's going to be fun coming up in June out at Snapdragon Stadium. We'll have more tickets to give away tomorrow. We also have 9 chances every day for you to win $1,000. Listening weekdays with the bonus bucks contest every hour from 9 a.m. through 5 p.m. Listen for the nationwide keyword. Take it over to sportssd.com. Your next chance to win $1,000 coming up next hour here on San Diego Sports 760. All right, news spreads fast, so I'm sure a lot of you are seeing some reports of a active shooter situation happening actually kind of close to where we are. But News Radio 600 Coco is all over it. If you would like some updates, there's lots of road closures around that area. So go check it out on News Radio 600 Coco. And obviously, hopefully everybody is being safe here. Very scary situation. There's also news earlier today about Simi Valley up in Ventura County on fire right now. Evacuations have started. Structures have been engulfed. Scary, scary times. We are playing in the sports sandbox over here. But if you'd like some breaking news, Kogo is on it. They're scrambling like crazy out there. So tune in to News Radio 600 Kogo for all the breaking news. We're going to make some bets. Not trying to be insensitive about anything, but that's what we do. That's what they do. Sammy, if you're ready for some long shots, it was a mixed bag over the weekend. You called the winner of Preakness, which
Napoleon Solo.
Who saw that coming? Napoleon Solo.
I did.
You did you really, or was that luck?
No, I saw it. Now listen, I was about to come on here and be a menace this morning because Taj Mahal and Napoleon Solo, who I picked Taj Mahal as a long shot. I gave Napoleon Solo. They were 1 and 2 for 3/4 of the race until Taj Mahal fell to the back. But
and Alex Smalley led the PGA Championship for the majority of the tournament. And guess what? I'm poor over here. I didn't win jack, Sammy. How'd your NBA picks do? Did you hate on the Spurs again? I can't remember Friday.
So Rich McGuire said that my hate of the Spurs is equivalent to my hate of Josh Allen. I don't hate the Spurs.
You're just allergic to betting on them.
I'm just allergic to betting on them. Yes, I have. That might change here in a few minutes.
Did you hear Colin took the Spurs straight up tonight? Colin Cowherd?
Colin going 6.5 point dogs.
Take him on the money line.
Yeah, well, maybe.
Interesting stuff. All right, well, let's get to it. This is Long Shots every day around this time. Sammy builds out a lineup for us to enter. Sammy, smash.
You looking for some luck? Want to win big? Gotta play big.
You are so money, and you don't even know it.
Time to take a chance.
Pay that man his money.
With Long Shots.
Rough weekend for me. I had a couple of Coors Lights, and I emptied my account on Nate Diaz to win, so...
I went in with you on Nate Diaz, and then after the first round, I hit a quick cash out because I did not like where our fight was headed.
Yeah, that's kind of how Nate Diaz fights, though. It's like he's always kind of getting his ass kicked, and then somehow something happens where he pulls out a win. But did you hear what they were saying? Like all the scar tissue he has built up over his eyebrows and on his head makes it super easy for the skin to break. For him to
bleed. But that's I was going to get to. It's actually been a problem for him in his career because. If you look at Nate Diaz's face after the fight, you're like, oh, he lost the fight because he bleeds a lot, and it actually can go into some of the scorecards when he can't control. So
crazy. All right, well, where are we going today, Sammy?
All right, we're heading to the NHL. The Montreal Canadiens taking on the Buffalo Sabres. Now, the game on Saturday night, Game 6, was unreal. So it was in Montreal. The Sabres score within the first 30 seconds of the game. Then Montreal scores 3 goals in the first quarter or first period. Kind of feeling like the game's over in Montreal, 3-1. Not so fast. The Buffalo Sabres come roaring back, 4 for 4 on the power play, destroy the Habs in Montreal. Now we're back to Game 7 tonight in Buffalo. The total goals is at 5.5. That one, if it was at 6.5, I think it will go under. I am going to go with the Buffalo Sabres on the money line tonight. I think at home they get it done. Montreal, that was their real opportunity. I mean, you were at home. I don't know how you get sent to the box that much at home. You have a 2-goal lead after the first period, despite Buffalo striking first. I know UPL, Lehkonen, the goalie for Buffalo Sabres, has been up and down at times, but the good thing about Buffalo, they have 2 very solid goalies who they've went through for most of the season. They are quick to pull. So if he gets in trouble early, UPL, he's getting pulled immediately. A lot of times when you pull a goalie in a game, that can actually help your defense because it's some fresh looks for the back line. I do think Buffalo's back line holds up. I think Buffalo, the Cinderella story continues, and they move on to the conference finals. All right, we're going Major League Baseball because we only have one NHL game today, one NBA game. Dodgers Padres. over 7 runs. We're going with the over. Now, this is a low number. So 7 runs typically for a baseball game is low. Usually the number for a regular season baseball game, 7.5. Sometimes you'll see 8.5. But again, we're going back to this. On the Dodgers side of things, Yoshinobu Yamamoto has quietly struggled the last few weeks. I mentioned the stat earlier. 15 runs given up in his last 24 innings pitched. He also gave up 3 home runs to the Giants of their 8 and 9 hitters. So Yamamoto, I do think, is susceptible to a little bit of the long ball. And then on the Dodgers side of things, on the other side of things, the Dodgers bats have been heating up. Kyle Tucker has been, after kind of struggling the first month of the season, one of the best hitters in baseball in the month of May. Shohei Ohtani hit a home run last week against the Giants, finally woke up. Mookie Betts. The Dodgers destroyed the Angels over the weekend, putting up double-digit scores in multiple games. I like the over in this game. I think the betting lines are looking at King versus Yoshinobu Yamamoto and going, it must be an under. I like the over, especially because the Dodgers bullpen has been susceptible at times this year, and the Dodgers have hit the Padres bullpen, Jeremiah Estrada, players like that, pretty well over the last year or so. So I like the over 7 runs in Dodgers Padres tonight. All right, on to the Western Conference Finals. Spurs Thunder game 1. Oklahoma City is a 6.5 point favorite in this game. This is tough. I think this series goes a long way. I really do. Now, Rich McGuire calling me out for my Spurs hate. We're going to stay away from a pick on either side. Going with under 221.5. Here's why. Stephon Castle, if you look at the underlying metrics, has really given Shai Gilgeous-Alexander a lot of problems this year. So the Spurs have beat the Thunder 4 times during the regular season. 4 times. To Ben's point, it is the regular season. Things are going to change. But the main reason behind that is they have stuck Stephon Castle on SGA all game and given him fits. On the other side, I think Chet Holmgren is going to be guarding Stephon Castle. The thing that had made the Spurs have so much success against the Thunder in those games is the one weakness for the Oklahoma City Thunder. They are not good at defending the corner 3. It's because they collapse so much on defense. That is the one weakness you can actually look at. And the Spurs have been the better 3-point shooting team over the year. I do think with Jalen Williams back, first game back, I think the number is a little bit inflated because I think they're getting a big score back. We don't know how much he's going to play tonight. He's missed the last couple weeks. Expect him to come in and score a lot of points immediately. I'm also interested in looking at the matchup. When Wemby's on the floor, are they playing Hartenstein and Chet Holmgren and Jalen Williams, trying to kind of counteract Wemby with 2 bigs? Or are they going to go with a little bit of a small ball and try to go with 5 small players and just let Wemby do his thing and make him guard on the perimeter? Anyways, 221.5, I think, is way too big of a number for a game 1. They're going to be feeling each other out a little bit. Under 221.5 in the Western Conference Finals. So, Buffalo Sabres on the money line tonight, closing it out at home. I like Dodgers Padres for the over in tonight's matchup, and I do think the Spurs and Thunder go under 221.5 tonight.
I like it, Sammy. I'm putting it in right now. We are set to go for tonight. All right, if you would like to win a 4-pack of tickets to the San Diego County Fair, which is coming up, man, Memorial Day is almost here. That's like the unofficial kickoff of summer. Summer means San Diego County Fair. Here's what you have to do. Open up the free iHeartRadio app, search San Diego Sports 760, leave us a talkback. Very, very simple. Manny Machado, Fernando Tatis Jr., Jackson Merrill. Who has the best series against the Dodgers coming up over the next 3 days? You do that, you are in the running to win a 4-pack of tickets to the San Diego County Fair. Again, free iHeartRadio app, search San Diego Sports 760, tap the little red microphone button. You can leave us a 30-second talkback. It could be 5 seconds. Just get one in and you are in the running. All right, hour number 2 coming up next. We'll get more into this Padres-Dodgers series, plus the return of 2 people who don't necessarily need to return. Let's talk about it next. San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app.
Sports sponsored by the Del Mar Thoroughbred Club. In baseball tonight, we got Padres Dodgers game 1. That is at 6:40. Michael King be on the mound for the Padres, while Yoshinobu Yamamoto will be going for the Dodgers in game 2. The Dodgers flipped. Emmett Sheehan will be going against Griffin Canning, and Shohei Ohtani will be on the mound Wednesday against Randy Vasquez. In the Western Conference Finals tonight, that game being at 5:30. Spurs on the road taking on the Oklahoma City Thunder. Game 1 at 5:30. Oklahoma City is a 6.5-point favorite with the point total set at 221.5. Don't miss out on summer's hottest ticket opening day at Del Mar. Is Friday, July 17th, presented by Caesars Sportsbook. Reserve your tickets for opening day in the entire Del Mar season at delmarracing.com, powered by SeatGeek.
We will start from the beginning. Ladies and gentlemen.
I'm Ben Fletcher. That's Sammy Long.
That's how it starts.
Sweep in the Emerald City. Now it's back to Petco to handle some personal business. Dodgers versus Padres. That's the plan. A new face at the top of the PGA Championship.
Aaron Rodgers just hit a beautiful birdie putt on 17. He drains it.
It's my honor on behalf of the PGA of America to present the Wanamaker Trophy to the champion of the 108th PGA Championship, Aaron Rye.
Plus,
I want winners.
Keyshawn Davis, I think minus 135. I think he blasts Albright within 6 rounds, gets him out of there.
We're halfway there.
Pistons, Cavs. I'm going to go under 210.5. We're going back to the under.
Ooh, look at that.
Ant-Man's got something tonight. Plus 5.5. Minnesota is winning this game outright. We're going to take them with the points, plus 5.5.
Well, maybe it got twisted.
Preakness. This weekend, we're going to the track. I like Taj Mahal.
I'll make up for it now.
You want a long shot, Napoleon Solo.
Napoleon Solo and Paco Lopez have won the Preakness.
Gina Carano, Ronda Rousey. Give me Ronda Rousey minus 183 by submission.
Rousey looking for the arm, and already the arm, it's over. Mamma mia, the most devastating finish in MMA history.
What did he say? Let's head into the San Diego Sports 760 studios and get in the zone with Fletch and Sammy.
It's hour number 2 here on San Diego Sports 760. Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you till 2 o'clock today. Sammy will keep the party rolling after that. Going along with Sammy, Schaefer and Sliwa will be your drive home, and they will get you ready fully for this Padres-Dodgers series, as will we, over the next couple of hours here on San Diego Sports 760. I did want to make another mention of it because there is an update. The San Diego Police Department on Twitter, on X, is saying the scene at 7050 Ekstrom Avenue is still active but contained. We have significant resources on the scene at this time. We've established a reunification location at 4125 Hathaway Street in San Diego. So if you're in the Claremont area, some very scary stuff happening today in Claremont. If you are around there and you're worried about traffic situations and there's a lot of road closures, News Radio 600 has you covered. News Radio 600 Kogo. You can tune in there. You won't hurt our feelings if, for safety reasons, you want to tune into Kogo and understand what's going on.
Stay safe out there.
Very, very scary. Hopefully everyone's okay, man. Hate seeing stuff like this. The San Diego Police Department on Twitter is providing active updates as well if you would like to look there. But very, very scary. Stay safe out there, people. We don't want anything bad to happen to anyone. All right, it is San Diego Sports 760. Obviously, the big news of the day is that the Dodgers are coming to town. The Padres-Dodgers starting tonight down at Petco Park. Michael King, who has been terrific over his last couple of starts, will be starting for the Padres here tonight. And it's a big series. There's a lot of reasons why. It's a rivalry, right? And Padres-Dodgers, that's exactly what they've become over the last handful of years. Is this Padres-Dodgers rivalry is as good as it gets in the sport of baseball right now. Of course, there's historic rivalries that will always be part of it. It's the Dodgers and the Giants, the Yankees and the Red Sox. There are massive rivalries in this sport, but the one that's been the most fun, the one that's had the most juice over the last couple of years has been Padres-Dodgers, because there's a real feeling of animosity between these teams. And I don't know if it started when Manny Machado was a Dodger for half a season and Dodger fans still hate him because of that, because it didn't go very well, or if it just started with the fact that the Padres beat the Dodgers in the playoffs not that long ago. There's a lot that goes into this thing. Not to mention just about 100 miles separating the two teams. But this is about as good as it gets in Major League Baseball right now. And for the Padres themselves, a team who's at times this year looked like a team that doesn't deserve to sniff 500. And at times this year has looked like a team who should be where they're at, 8 or 9 games over 500. This is a big series for them because they haven't necessarily stepped up and beaten the teams who they're going to have to beat in the postseason this year. This is that opportunity, right? You're going to see the Dodgers, most likely, before the NLCS or in the NLCS this year. Can you go out there and show that you belong on the same diamond with them tonight and tomorrow and the next day? This is a big series for that because I think both fan bases are looking at this as a measuring stick to see where their two teams are at. At this point, May 18th, it means a lot less now, but this is going to mean a lot come September.
Well, and I think you'd look for the Padres to play with a sense of urgency today in that the reason it's become a rivalry is because obviously the Padres got him in 2022, and then the Padres were one game away, not to relive everyone, but one game away from beating them in 2024.
Are you talking about 24 straight scoreless
innings, and they were the odds. I remember the day we were doing radio, Ben and I remember the day of that game 4, they were the odds-on favorite. They flipped.
Can I tell you that moment that I saw those odds come out was the moment I knew it was all doomed. The moment that the Padres became the favorite to win the World Series, I was like, "Oh, this isn't going to."
It was. There was a lot of people saying the series were over, and it was interesting timing until it's actually over. But like, think about that. So the Dodgers end up. This is the first of their World Series. Who knows what would have happened? Go back to last year. Last year in August, remember they had the back-to-back series, the 3 set up in LA, and then the 3-game set.
Oh, there was a moment there in August where the Padres were actually first place in the NL West.
They were first place, and they had 6 games over a 10, 11-day span to prove it. And they got swept in LA, and then they won Friday and Saturday in San Diego. And then remember Dalton Rushing hit that 3-run home run, and they really needed to sweep the series in San Diego to have a chance. I mean, this is a team that, Dodger fans have gotten to, pump their chest out. They've won back-to-back World Series, and again, in a division that's so close right now in the NL West between the Padres and the Dodgers, hell, even the Diamondbacks aren't too far behind, a few games back. There's still kind of that national thought that, the Padres are hanging around. They're a good team, but they're not really competing with the Dodgers. And not that if you win this series, you're winning the division, but if you want to kind of be a heel in a thorn in their side and really show that, hey, no, we're here to stay. We're a legit ball club that's figuring things out and has a real shot to do something this year. It really starts with this week, because I think if you come lose the series against the Dodgers, everything you built up over the week against the Mariners, people go, all right, well, you've lost series to the Cubs, Brewers, and Dodgers, all teams you're going to be seeing in the NL. You win this series against the Dodgers, and I think the outlook of the team looks very different than it is even right now.
It's as big as it gets for me, and I can't wait for it. I'm really excited to see what this team looks like against the Dodgers, who, by the way, are playing pretty good ball. Is it 5 straight wins for the Dodgers?
5 straight, yeah. It'd be the Giants twice, and then it swept the Angels.
Look, this is big time. This is you don't need to get hyped up for this series. There's nothing Sammy and I could say that could get you more hyped up for this series. This is it. And if the Padres come out and are flat like they were against the Brewers, I will be wildly disappointed. All right, we are giving away a 4-pack of tickets to the San Diego County Fair. We're doing it a little bit differently, so this isn't something you can call in to win. This is something you have to use the talkback mic for on the free iHeartRadio app. Open up the app, search San Diego Sports 760. While you're listening to the station, there's a little red microphone in the corner. You can tap that. You can leave up to 30 seconds. We're asking you, Jackson, Manny, Fernando, who has the best series against the Dodgers? Just blurt one of those names out and you're in the running. We got 4 or 5 people who are already in. If you would like to add to that, you can be in the running for today's 4-pack of tickets to the San Diego County Fair. Sammy, let's get to the big 3 here of our number 2, where you rip through the top stories in the world of sports. Sammy, smash.
Your lunch break is here.
Ready to go back to the office and knock the socks off your friends?
Coworkers.
It's time for the top stories of the day. The Big 3.
By the way, I just refreshed the page. I said 4 or 5. I think I meant 40 or 50. There's a ton of these talkbacks in here, so... And there's still time for you to get in. If you would like to get in before the end of the show, we'll pick the winner in the very last break of the day. Sammy, where are we heading?
All right, we're heading to the association. So MVP going to Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Not much of a shock. I think a lot of people had that, but this is the voting of how many first place votes each player got.
How many did Luka get?
We're gonna get to that. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, 83, won it. Nikola Jokic got 10. Victor Wembanyama, only 5. Cade Cunningham, 2. Luka Doncic, 0 first place votes. Do you have any problem with the fact that Shai won it over Wemby? And what do you think of Luka getting 0 votes?
Well, I do think that the people who voted on MVP decided, yeah, we understood that the NBA made him eligible for the MVP, but he's not really eligible for the MVP. I think it was a little bit of a statement based on the amount of games played. Shea deserved to win MVP. I'm fine with that. I'm fine with them picking him for the MVP again this year. I highly doubt he will win it again next year because it is oftentimes a little bit of a popularity contest. I'm fine with Shea winning it this year. It is outrageous if you watch basketball this year. Luka Doncic, for my money, is the most talented human being playing the sport right now. Now, he doesn't play a whole lot of defense, but when it comes to offense, he's one of the greatest scorers of my lifetime. The fact that he gets 0, you should pen him in for 10 to 15 every single year just because he can do things with the basketball that I don't think there's another person alive who can do. He is incredible. He is a specimen, man. And the fact that he got snubbed like this, obviously there's some sort of talk between the voters on how many games he played this year.
Look, Shea, I don't promise Shea winning the MVP. Unbelievable player. Do I think Wemby's underlying metrics, even though Wemby is probably the most electric player in the NBA, he played the fewest minutes of everyone in the MVP conversation, and that played into it a lot. So some of the underlying metrics, those guys were better. Look, I don't necessarily. Luka missed the last month of the season because of injuries, and that certainly played into it. He got destroyed in the game where he got hurt. Had the Lakers won that game against Oklahoma City, and it really been a hard press toward the end of the year, who knows what would have happened. I don't have as big a problem as like Luka 0 first place votes because he got hurt. What I have a problem is 2 things. Cade Cunningham also got hurt and got 2 votes. I'm a massive Cade Cunningham fan. I'm sorry. Luka Doncic was a better player this year than Cade Cunningham. And I'm also a little bit like Nikola Jokic. Nikola Jokic got 10 votes. Wemby only got 5. That's just a little odd for me. I get Nikola Jokic is an unbelievable player, but Jokic also missed a large chunk of the NBA regular season. If we're going off defense, best defenders, it should be Jaylen Brown because it's not like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is a great defender. He has a great team around him that leads to great team defense. It is interesting the lack of Luka definitely. I don't know if he rubs people the wrong way or what, but Luka definitely feels like there's a little bit of a vendetta against him. But I don't have a problem with SGA winning it. He's a great player.
All right, real quick, just some breaking news on the active shooter front that we've been following. San Diego Police Department is saying the threat has been neutralized. So that is good news. Listen into Kogo. There's going to be some media conferences coming up soon. News Radio 600 Kogo. By the way, Sammy, what's going on with Jaylen Brown and Stephen A. Smith? Why are they beefing with each other?
Yeah, if you haven't seen that can be big 3 story number 2.
What's happening here?
Jaylen Brown went on a live stream after they got eliminated by the Philadelphia 76ers. Kind of called out, if I'm remembering this right, the talking heads in the media. You could tell maybe it had a few cocktails sitting on the stream for a little while. Started talking about, the lack of help maybe. And then, or he didn't say the lack of help. There was reports that came out that maybe he was unhappy with the Boston Celtics. Stephen A kind of fired back, was like, you did lose in 7 games. And then as of this morning on a Twitch stream last night, he said, F Stephen A. And then Stephen A responded with, you don't know who you're messing with today. So some beef in the NBA.
I'd say the funniest part about it is every time ESPN runs a story on it, they make sure to show how many subscribers Jaylen Brown has on whatever
YouTube
channel he's streaming on. I don't know if it's Twitch or YouTube or what. But the number is low, and I think ESPN is like kind of in Stephen A's corner showing how low that number is. We got one more, Sammy.
Conor McGregor, Max Holloway booked for July 11th in Las Vegas. The Mystic Max return to the Octagon. Now, the
Do we know, is this a BMF belt? What is it? Is it anything?
No, it's just a fight.
Okay.
It's a legit fight. Obviously, two of the biggest names in the promotion, and we'll have a shot towards the top of the division. Probably you'd think the winner would have a big time shot, but Conor McGregor opens as a 4-1 underdog in the fight. Do we think it's fair, too low, or too high?
I honestly think there's part of the Gina Carano thing that played into this. Like, Conor hasn't won a fight since pre-2020. Conor hasn't been in the Octagon for 4 or 5 years. He's done 2 movies since he last fought in the Octagon. I think that this is probably right. Like, Max Holloway should win this fight on the outset. In fact, I think it'd be a little embarrassing for Max if he didn't win the fight. So I kind of look at this like Gina Carano getting into the Octagon with Ronda Rousey. She had no business doing that. I kind of think at this point in Conor's career, unless he really hits the training hard, unless he can really turn back the clock, unless he can somehow get the memories of his last 3 or 4 fights out of his head, Max should be a 4-1 favorite in this fight. I really do believe that Conor just isn't the same guy anymore. And I don't know how it's going to be if he can even compete with Max Holloway at this point.
Conor McGregor, yeah, I think I'm with you. I think it's fair. Now, this line is going to get a lot narrower because the betting public, Conor McGregor has a lot of fans. Casual people know Conor McGregor is. They're going to throw money on him. The first fight a long time ago, the only shot McGregor has to win, because everything you said about the rust, I mean, this is not Conor McGregor from 10 years ago who was knocking everyone out. Jose Aldo fought Nate Diaz, fought Holloway. I mean, he was fighting everyone at the peak of his game. The peak of their powers, Conor McGregor mops the floor with Max Holloway. But like striking accuracy throughout his career, he's 49% to Max Holloway's 48%. Max Holloway does average about 1 to 2 more strikes per minute, about 7, compared to Conor McGregor's 5 to 6. So we're going to see Conor McGregor. They do say in combat sports, in boxing, the UFC, the last thing to go is power. Max Holloway is going to he's going to stand there and trade. So it does kind of help Conor McGregor in the sense of that he's going to be able to try to land a big time shot. This is not a guy who's going to run or just try to wrestle with him. So I think the odds are there. A little live dog money on Mystic Mac could be interesting, but probably Max Holloway gets it done inside the distance.
Can I tell you the worst part about this fight?
What?
I'm going to be a groomsman in a wedding on that night.
Oh, is this like your boy?
This is one of my best friends from college.
Okay. All right.
It's not his fault. He didn't look at the schedule. This fight just got announced. The wedding's been booked for like a year and a half. But yes, that night I will be watching on my phone, potentially wearing a suit in the middle of a wedding, watching Conor McGregor and Max Holloway fight.
Got you.
My brother-in-law sent me. He was like, "Hey, I got us free room in Vegas if you want to go that weekend."
Buy tickets?
And we would just have to buy tickets to the fight. Oh man, should I skip the wedding?
Well, here's the thing: if you were smart around July 4th, work up a little bit of a cold.
Oh, I got COVID. I got
no,
COVID.
not that. Just
COVID, real bad COVID. All right, it's San Diego Sports 760. Quick break here. Coming up on the other side, we got a bunch more talkbacks. We'll play some of them coming up next to win those San Diego County Fair tickets. And yeah, Conor McGregor wasn't the only one to announce a return. No. There's an NFL player who is back. We'll talk about the impact on the other side. It's San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app.
Oh, Manny, he is going to rise from the depths of his slump and come through and help beat the Dodgers. God love him.
Not sure if we have a name on that one, but thank you for the talk back, my friend. All I have is an email address, and I'm not going to dox you on air, so I won't say your name. But thank you for getting that in. If you would like to win a 4-pack of tickets to the San Diego County Fair, pretty simple. You just got to open up the free iHeartRadio app, search San Diego Sports 760, and leave us a talk back with the little red microphone icon and tell us, Manny, Fernando, or Jackson Merrill, who's going to have the best series against the Dodgers. We'll pick a winner coming up today around 1:47-ish out of the talkbacks we've gotten. There's a bunch in here. You still have time to get some in. We'll play them the rest of the way throughout the show. All right, we mentioned Conor McGregor being back in the world of the UFC, but how about in the world of the NFL? Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers make it official to go another year. It looks like a 1-year, $25 million deal for the quarterback to make his way back to the NFL, playing with the Steelers this year after maybe a little bit of a quieter offseason for Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah,
it feels like we talked about him a lot, but he never really said a whole lot this offseason. He didn't make any threats of leaving the game forever. We don't know if he went on an ayahuasca retreat, but he's back. I'm sure he did.
Do you think that he's the last of the pocket passers? Like him and Matthew Stafford?
Because there's some guys in the NFL right now who are going to have to transition into becoming full pocket passers. Like Joe Burrow is going to have to, at some point in his career, transition to be a completely pocket passer.
He would be the closest because he can pick up a first down or two with his legs, but he traditionally is a pocket passer. Lamar is obviously not. Josh Allen's not. Mahomes isn't. He uses his legs. I mean, it's funny. Like you look at even Fernando Mendoza is mobile in some capacity. There's not really any quarterbacks now that you don't have to have the legs of an Allen or Lamar or a Jalen Hurts, but you have to at least be able to have that in your game because the traditional drop back passers are just kind of extinct now because you just feel like defenses have learned how to play mobile quarterbacks, and then when you play a pocket passer, it's like you just take a whole aspect of the game away.
Yeah, I am curious. Like Aaron Rodgers, for the majority of his career, wasn't even a pocket passing quarterback. Like for a majority of his career, Aaron Rodgers
was kind of mobile.
In fact, there were numbers for a long time where Aaron Rodgers on the run was a more accurate passer than Aaron Rodgers inside the pocket. He became famous. He became beloved because of him rolling out to the right and throwing deep balls down the field. That was sort of his shtick, and he's not really that guy anymore. I don't think the Steelers are much better with Aaron Rodgers this year than they would have been with somebody else on their roster. Like Aaron Rodgers at this point, to me, the game has sort of moved past him. He's not going to win the Steelers a Super Bowl. I do think this is a little bit of a farewell tour. This is going to be his final season in the NFL, and I think we're all fine with that. Like the era of Rodgers, Rivers, Breeze, Brady, Roethlisberger, Manning was great. I loved that era of football. That era of football raised me. That turned me into the NFL fan that I am today. That era of football is over. Now are the days of Mahomes and Burrow and Lamar and Josh Allen. And yes, Brock Purdy. Damn it, I'm going to say it. Like Matthew Stafford is going to be the one bridge between the old era to this era, and Matthew Stafford still playing at an MVP level. We'll keep him around a little bit longer. But Aaron Rodgers, it's probably time for you just to say bye-bye.
Look, the Steelers have always been an extremely proud fan base, and I've always respected the Pittsburgh Steelers because they hold their team to a standard of winning. I mean, they've gotten in the playoffs countless years, had winning seasons left and right, and the last playoff win was in 2016 against the Chiefs. And you would think the franchise was like the Jets in terms of the fan base of the Cardinals. Like it's a proud fan base. It's accustomed to winning and expects a standard of excellence from the Steelers. But this is where that actually hurts them.
Yeah,
because the fact that the Pittsburgh media, the local radio, the fans, they are not going to be okay with watching some scrub go out there. Mason Rudolph, a Will Howard. We'll see if he can be good, but a guy that doesn't really give you a chance to win.
But that's kind of what they needed this year.
That's what they need.
They probably needed to trade TJ Watt this offseason. They probably needed to get cheaper on the defensive side.
Cam Hayward.
Yeah, get rid of the veterans and go with a young team. See what you have in the young players. And then next year, guess what? Loaded quarterback draft class. Like, are you expecting Aaron Rodgers to only get you 5 wins this year? Because if that's the case, you'll be in the mix. But he's probably going to get you 8 or 9.
The problem is the Jets are going to be picking at the top. The Cardinals, the Dolphins, all these teams that need quarterbacks. We'll see if the Dolphins do. But
most of them, by the way, with young head coaches.
Mike
McCarthy's a new head coach for the Steelers. He's not young.
So what's going to happen is Pittsburgh is going to be the talk of the offseason next year, because the question is, when they're probably picking 14, 15, 16, somewhere in there, because they had a middling record, do you give up the future, mortgage the future to go get one of these guys and have a king's ransom, or are you going to sit there and take the leftovers, take the fourth and fifth best quarterback? And it feels like a repetitive cycle that Pittsburgh is constantly in.
All right, we're going to get to a bunch of these YouTube comments on the other side. There's been a ton today, and thank you for watching at San Diego Sports 760 on YouTube. I did want to point out that our buddy Steven is listening to the show while eating Raisin Canes. I like Raisin Canes.
Shout out to Steven.
That's some good chicken, man. Their Texas toast. Woohoo! Oh,
I got to be honest. Are they a sponsor?
Raisin Canes?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I'm a Dave's guy.
I like Dave's, and Dave's is a sponsor. So nicely done, Sammy.
I didn't even know they were a sponsor. Dave's? Woo!
Dave's is good. There's room for more than one good chicken.
No, there
place.
is. See, Cane's is really good. We used to go to Cane's all the time. I kind of got a little burnt out.
I'll tell you the one I really like, and I think it's a standalone location. It's called Hot Chicks. Chicks with a Z.
Yes.
Down by the Soapy Joe's. I used to live right up the street from there, down by McGregor's. That place makes some good spicy chicken. All right, we are going to take a quick break here. On the other side, if you haven't heard it yet, Eli Manning just flamed the Chargers. We're going to play that sound for you. Plus, Padres Dodgers. This is the big time. We'll continue previewing that series. But hear from Eli Manning on the real story. The story we've been told for years is alive, folks. The real story of why he did not go to the San Diego Chargers back in 2004. We'll play you that audio coming up next. San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app.
Sports sponsored by Anderson Plumbing, Heating, and Air. Dodgers, Padres. Game 1 of a 3-game set gets going tonight at 6:40. Michael King will be on the mound for San Diego, while LA will be going with Yoshinobu Yamamoto. And then in the NBA tonight, we got the Spurs Thunder on the road. Spurs on the road taking on the Thunder in Game 1. That is at 5:30. OKC 6.5-point favorites, despite the Spurs beating them 4 times during the regular season. Point total set at 221.5. Choosing the right home service company isn't just about fixing what's broken. It's about trusting who's in your home. That's why homeowners count on Anderson for friendly professional service that keeps everything running right. Visit AndersonPHA.com.
San Diego Sports 760, Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you till 2 o'clock. We still have a little bit of time if you want to get in those talkbacks for the SD Fair tickets. We got a 4-pack of tickets to the San Diego County Fair. Open up the free iHeartRadio app, search San Diego Sports 760, leave us up to 30 seconds worth of talkback. We can play it back here to end out the show, and we are going to pick a winner within the next 15 minutes. So stay tuned here on San Diego Sports 760 and get your talkbacks in now. All right, we've been told the same story since 2004. So 2004, the draft class that had Phillip Rivers and Eli Manning, Chargers picked Eli Manning. Eli Manning said no. Eli Manning ends up with the Giants. The rest is history. Phillip Rivers with the Chargers. So for years now, and I remember hearing this story then, I remember hearing this story up to about 2 years ago, and I can almost picture Steve Hartman, by the way, doing the whole rampage about how Arch Manning, Eli's dad, was the one who sort of stepped in and said, you're not going to the Chargers. We're going to deny the fact that they picked you as a draft pick and you're going to go elsewhere. And then he ended up with the Giants. The rest is history. So for years, that was the story. Arch Manning stepped in and said, Eli is not going to the Chargers because of ownership, because of all these different things. Turns out that's not the true story. In fact, Eli Manning was on Bussin' with the Boys, Taylor Lewan and Will Compton's podcast. And take a listen to what Eli had to say, because it's very, very different than the story we've been told forever.
I just didn't feel like they were the most committed team to winning at the time. Marty Schottenheimer was the head coach, who was awesome, had great respect for him, but like they came to work me out in New Orleans, went to dinner, and like there was just friction between, the head coach, general manager, like the owners. They're all like yelling, kind of like fighting. We're at a Marriott like restaurant, and Schottenheimer's mad that he's like, we're in New Orleans, we're eating at a Marriott, and so he's like pissed. They're like kind of this bickering, and it just didn't seem like there was a whole lot of like agreement on things, and like they were kind of like committed to building a great winning franchise at that moment. My parents really weren't supportive. My dad didn't like the idea. He came to my defense and like supported me after everything was going down, but a lot of
he didn't like that you were kind of demanding, I don't want to go to San Diego.
Right. He didn't like that. And afterwards he took like a blunt of a lot of the criticism, because he came to my defense, and people were saying, oh, you played in New Orleans all those years, you didn't win, so you're trying to dictate like where your son's going. And he just kind of bit his tongue and said, I'm just hey, this is what Eli wants to do, and I support him. And he kind of did some media to try to save me from doing all the media and taking the hits.
So at the time, AJ Smith would have been the general manager. Marty Schottenheimer was the head coach. And it's funny because I think if you ask a lot of San Diego Charger fans, they also would have sided with Marty. And Eli said it there. He's got a tremendous amount of respect for Marty Schottenheimer, but it seemed like there was just so much disconnect between head coach, owner, and GM. So I'm assuming that dinner at a Marriott, which is a hilarious part of that story, that Eli was like,
in New Orleans,
we're at a Marriott? Come on, dude. I'm going to be the #1 overall pick. But that Eli said, I had a ton of respect for Marty Schottenheimer. Well, that only leaves 2 other names, gang. Those 2 other names are AJ Smith and Dean Spanos. And clearly there was some problems. And Eli Manning read the fortune correctly. Eli Manning was a Super Bowl winning quarterback 2 times over with the team that he ended up with. Who knows if history is different? Is Phillip Rivers the guy that wins a couple Super Bowls with the New York Giants? Is Eli Manning the guy who never gets past an AFC championship game here in San Diego? I don't know the answer to that, but it is clear to me that Eli Manning, has a hell of a father. For the fact that Arch Manning came out and he did take media and he did say that he was the one who stopped the move.
Right, he got crushed
for years, decades. Sammy, this is 22 years ago. Arch Manning has consistently been the overprotective father.
When Archie didn't make many appearances over the years too, it was very like he wasn't doing a lot of press after it because he was just,
that's a hell of a dad. Imagine how different the last 22 years would have been for Eli Manning if that was the story we heard the whole time. He would have been the one getting crushed. But today, he says all that, and I'm like, damn, the Chargers were that dysfunctional all the way back then, too? It's just a bad look.
It does kind of go to a bigger point of take any league, take NFL, NBA, Major League Baseball. You kind of sit there and go, why do the same teams consistently pick at the top of the draft, even though they're getting cracks at top tier quarterbacks and big time college basketball players, and Major League Baseball is a little different because of the format with salary cap, but making good moves. Look at what AJ Preller's done. I mean, Gavin Sheets, Andahar, like winning on the margins. And it makes sense why you have the Jets and the Cardinals and teams like that are consistently picking at the top of the draft because of bad GMs and bad ownership. And I mean, it's embarrassing if you're the San Diego Chargers, and still now the LA Chargers, because Dean Spanos is still there. Now maybe he doesn't care. They got Justin Herbert, so it's not like they're in for a quarterback, but it's a bad look. I mean, you had the number 1 overall pick. Eli Manning was the guy. And then you do, to the point you raised, how much different would it have been?
What's the course of NFL history like if Eli Manning was a Charger and he was the guy sitting behind Drew Brees when he first got here, or if Phillip Rivers was a Giant? Like, does Phillip Rivers have more success than Eli had? Because I think if you take both their careers, you would say Phillip Rivers probably ended up being the better quarterback in terms of just quarterbacking.
Just in terms of pure passer, yeah.
Exactly. But Eli Manning obviously had the better career. He won 2 Super Bowls.
Well, text us 70470, start your message with team, what you think. Because it is, when you look at those 3 quarterbacks, you throw Roethlisberger in there. Eli had...
What a draft class.
It was unbelievable. And Eli had the moments. He had you beat arguably the greatest team of all time in New England. You beat the dynasty twice. He kept Tom Brady from having 9 Super Bowls. Eli Manning kept him from having 9. And well, look, I know they scored 17 points and 21 points, but he made huge plays. The Victor Cruz catch.
It was David Tyree helmet catch. It was 2 all-time runs by a quarterback.
And the Manningham down the sideline. I mean, unbelievable. And then Roethlisberger, you could argue, probably had the best blend of talent and then talent himself and talent to work with on the team.
And maybe one of the most historic throws in Super Bowl history, the Santonio Holmes catch.
Right. So he had that. Rivers, it is interesting when you talk about the Hall of Fame.
Rivers may have been the most talented of the 3.
Rivers, you could argue, did the most with the least. I mean, Eli Manning had Spagnuolo running that defense and Justin Tuck and Michael Strahan. I mean, those Giants defenses were unbelievable. And the Steelers, you could argue Big Ben underperformed. He never won a title with AB or Le'Veon Bell or Martavis Bryant or Juju when those offenses were unreal. It is like when you go back to, and then it's just disappointing for San Diego because it just shows you how one guy in Dean Spanos can change the fortune of a city and the fortune of like it's like you got this guy who just doesn't care about anyone besides himself. Now, and unfortunately, he's a position of power.
In all fairness to the Chargers, there was a period during Phillip Rivers' career where he had undeniably the best offensive line in football and the best running back in football for about 3 years. That they had that tandem where it was the big fellas up front, led by Hardwick, LT in the backfield, the Big Mac on left tackle. Like that was inarguably at the time the best offensive line in the NFL with the best running back in the NFL. So they had that going for him. But did everyone like the defense at that time? Did we just forget about that? So there's a lot with the Chargers that the finger needs to be pointed directly at Dean Spanos. But it's just so fascinating how 2004 was such a pivotal moment for the future of the NFL. And to find out that 22 years later that Arch Manning wasn't the villain whatsoever, that he was actually disappointed in Eli's choice to not go to the San Diego Chargers, and that it all came down to a dinner at the Marriott that Eli decided, yeah, these aren't the people for me.
Do you think this is
foresight by Eli Manning?
Not to be a little conspiracy theorist.
No, go ahead.
Do we think that it's ironic that this story comes out all these years later and Arch may be the number 1 pick in next year's draft?
Mm-hmm.
Are we getting ready to keep Archie away from the critics? But if the Jets get the number 1 pick,
the Browns,
or are we going to see the same thing?
You know, it's the right question to ask, Sammy. And because I remember maybe 2 or 3 years ago, I heard the conversation start up when Arch Manning was first coming into college, and everyone said, oh, guy is going to be a future #1 overall pick. He is the Manning we've all been waiting for. I remember that exact conversation coming up. Like, oh, is Archie Manning, meaning Eli's dad, going to step in and say, hey, grandkid, we know how to handle this. You don't want to go here, here, and here. Turns out wasn't Archie the whole time.
And we already Arch could have came out this year. Didn't. Now it's probably smart because he probably would be the #1 pick next year. But, and I don't want to compare Dante Moore, Arch Manning to Phillip Rivers and Ben Roethlisberger and Eli Manning because those guys are all arguably Hall of Famers and have won multiple Super Bowls. But it is a draft class next year where it's loaded. Dante Moore, Maeva from SC, Sellers from South Carolina. I mean, saying the local kid is at Ohio State, CJ Carr for Notre Dame. There's a lot of talent next year. So it just is interesting to me, like, why now? Why would you say this now when the Chargers aren't in San Diego anymore? They have a quarterback. It does kind of, we connect the dots a little. I would not be surprised if we get some drama around Arch Manning next year and whether he comes out or not.
Poor Marriott taking shots on all of this.
Yeah.
Like Marriott's just sitting there minding their business and they're like, oh, we're not good enough for you, Eli. I'm sorry.
You think if you were hosting the potential #1 pick, this would be like a 4 seasons.
But seriously, yeah. I mean, New Orleans, there's some of the best restaurants in the world.
Of course.
Like, how is that? That's so funny and so on brand for Marty Schottenheimer to be at dinner and be like, what the hell is this? We're eating at a Marriott.
I mean, this is a franchise that fired Marty Schottenheimer after doing 14 wins.
Right.
14 wins and you fire him. I mean, like, it's just, it completely mismanaged and not well run.
All right. Well, it's San Diego Sports 760. We are going to take a quick break. On the other side, we are selecting our winner. Tons of talkbacks have come in. One of you is going to win a 4-pack of tickets to the San Diego County Fair. And if you just tuned in for your first time and you're like, what the hell? What's a talkback? How do I win the San Diego County Fair tickets? Open up the free iHeartRadio app. You still have about 5 minutes to get these in. We will keep counting until the very last second. Open up the free iHeartRadio app, search San Diego Sports 760, tap the little red microphone icon while you're listening to the station. That gives you a little like Siri window almost where you can leave a message for us to play back on the air. If you do that between now and I'd say 5 minutes from now, you have a chance to win a 4-pack of tickets to the San Diego County Fair coming up later this month. All right, it's San Diego Sports 760. You're listening live on the iHeartRadio app. Hey, it's Fletch for Valley View Casino and Hotel. Coming up at the end of the month, Friday, May 29th, it is the 3 C's event. Cash, cash, and more cash. This month's winner can go home with $35,000 in cash or risk it all and spin for the ultimate prize of $100,000 on the cash wheel, plus an additional 30 grand in cash, and free more play is going to be given away to 70 lucky winners throughout the night. You can earn entries throughout the month by playing slot or table games, then activate your entries the day of the giveaway at the guest service kiosks located throughout the casino. You do not want to miss the 3 C's event coming up on May 29th at Valley View Casino and Hotel. And I'll tell you what, man, they are packing more and more slot machines into this place. They got all the new ones. Get on out to the Valley View Casino and Hotel. Literally thousands of slot machines at the Valley View Casino and Hotel. All Players Club members are eligible to win the 3 C's event. And if you're not a Players Club member yet, signing up is always quick, easy, and free. And when you join the Players Club, you're going to get over $200 in free offers to use instantly at San Diego's favorite casino. That would be Valley View Casino and Hotel. To learn more, visit valleyviewcasino.com. All guests 21 and over are invited to enjoy the casino, hotel, and restaurants.
in the result against the Dodgers. And then there's been other periods of time where it's like, let's put nothing into the Padres and the Dodgers. And then sometimes somewhere in between. So it's almost like we're all trying to figure out what it means. I think Padres fans, the Padres, Dodgers fans, the Dodgers, in terms of what this exact series means in the grand scheme. And that's debatable, probably.
Which two boys got coming up on the show today?
Rodeo.
Busy day today.
Yeah, a lot of
all rodeo.
All rodeo.
All rodeo.
Kevin
Moreno's coming on, who covers the Dodgers. Dodger Blue, I think, is the their outlet. He's coming on at 4. We said
4 p.m.
I think we said 4.
Matt Moreno, Dodger Blue.
Yep.
Darnay Tripp, who had me on NBC7 Sports Night last night, will join us at 5 from Petco, and then Kevin Acey also at Petco at 5:30.
Okay, look at that.
12
Packed
stuff going on. There's a lot of stuff going on.
SDFC.
Yep. Oh, SDFC.
Don't be scared to hold a lead in the final 13 seconds.
Literally the final kick.
That was crazy. Unbelievable. All right, coming up next, keep listening to these boys. We'll be back tomorrow at 12 o'clock. We got Kevin Acey sometime tomorrow, and then we got Vassay coming on, David Vassay. 12:30 on Wednesday. That will be spicy after the first 2 games.
He's banned.
All right. Coming up next, keep listening to Schaefer and Sleep.